Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Hello, Rustaceans. Welcome to the 16th video of this Rust series. So, today we will build a backend application with Rust. So, as we used to cover the lectures or chapters from Rust official documentation, however, we will not be covering the actual content from the documentation. However, we will take the reference from the Rust official documentation and we will implement or we will perform the hands-on implementation of the concepts that we have covered in previous videos. So let's get into the today's lect or the today's video. So today we will build a backend application. So I'm not going to build a complex web application or the backend application. So initially I'm planning to build a simple CRUD application. So we will create or we will build a backend. So CRUD means create, update, delete, and create, read, update, and delete CRUD. So CRUD application in which we will cover what are the different crates that we can use to build the CRUD application, what are the underlying concepts, what is backend, how to build backend, what should be, let's say we will cover different concepts like relational versus non-relational, the concept of API, and we will also cover different other concepts like why we are not using SQL in this video. Oh, sorry, no SQL in this video. We are going to use SQL. What is SQL? And there are a lot of concepts that we will going to cover in a few minutes. So, starting with the grades that we will be using for today's lecture or for the building the CRUD application. So as you remember, in our last video, we have used TRPL, the Rust programming language crate. So in that crate, we tried to use it. So as we have also already covered that the documentation already mentioned that TRPL is a combination of multiple different crates. So right now, we will not use the TRPL crate. Instead, we will use all the other crates that on let's say the underlying crates जिन crates को मिलाकर एक crate बनी थी हम उनकी जो जो crates use हुई थी वो use कर रहे होंगे. So we will going to understand what are different types of crates, why they are necessary to use it, and why there is no support from the Rust. So let us start with the network or how we can build the asynchronous application with Rust. So the Tokio crate. So it is a runtime for writing reliable network applications without compromising speed. And Tokio is an event-driven, non-blocking I/O platform for writing asynchronous applications. So, as we have already covered in our previous video about futures, streams, asynchronous programming, so we can build the asynchronous application with the help of this Tokio crate. And they are mentioning that with the Rust programming language at a high level, it provides a few major components. So it provides different components. So we will get deep dive into these statements or the pointers later on. Next, we will use SERDI or SERDI JSON. Um, SERDI and SERDI JSON both are different grades. So SERDI is a framework for serializing and deserializing Rust data structures efficiently and generically. So as you remember, or if you are coming from the JavaScript background, so you know about JSON, JSON, how we can come, how we can build the JSON string if come how we can come make the string or the object into a string. So we used to use, let's say, JSON dot and stringify method, and there are a lot of different support or functions provided by the JavaScript. Hence, we don't have these kinds of support from Rust. So we have to use the external crates to get these kind of features. So let's move on to the next one, Axum. So Axum is a web application framework that focuses on ergonomics and modularity. So Axum is it's Axum helps us in building the, let's say, web applications or backends. So there are multiple other similar crates that provides the similar features, but they have some kind of edge on each other. So let's say we have Rocket, we have Actix. So there are a lot of different crates that we can use to build web application. We will use or different crates in our upcoming videos when we will build different other applications. Then move on to the database. It is the bare bone or main thing of the application. So where we will store the data. So SQLite, we will use this SQLite. Why we are using it? Because it is easy to use. Second pointer, it is SQL, as name says that we will be using it. And third pointer, that we don't have to worry about where it will be stored, whether the data will be compromised or not. So it will be the data will be stored in our local directory. So don't have to go into different procedures. We don't have to install different others um, applications or softwares. So we just have to install these crates, and I'll get back to this later. So let's just start with the project and hands-on implementation. So let's go to the project. I have already created this project beforehand. So let me just clear it everything. Let's just remove everything. Let's just delete everything. So basically it's my third or fourth try. I have retried many times. Uh, so let's say main, and let's just start with this one. So let's say we are. You will see this kind of interface when you create a new project with command cargo new and the project name. So let's zoom it and let's clear it. So all right. So let's just clear everything. Okay, delete it. Perfect. Delete this. Perfect. All right. Perfect. So let's just install all the necessary crates that will be used in our project. So let's say cargo at 30, Tokio, 30, JSON, and Axum and SQLite, and this is it. Yes, let's press enter and let's just in. All right, so it has been installed. If you go into the cargo.toml file, all right, one more thing. If after installing this these crates, you will see these dependencies with the versions stated. So let's just start with the implementation. And before moving forward, I have to explain the concept, because as you know, the backend is consists of the APIs. So let's simplify it कि backend में APIs ही होती हैं. Let's simplify it for now. कि APIs, what APIs are? APIs is used to, or it helps front end to communicate with backend. In simple words. Let's just get into an example. So let's take an example of customer. Let's say it is a front end. Let's consider customer as a front end, chef or kitchen as a backend. All right. So now what this customer will do, customer will go through the menu if he wants to order something. So he won't go to the kitchen and ask chef to, let's say, cook biryani for me. No, what he will do, he will ask waiter, call waiter, he will call waiter, and then the waiter will take his order, and then the waiter will go to the kitchen, or whatever the procedure would be. He will, let's simplify it. Let's Waiter will go to the kitchen and to the chef, and he will ask chef to, let's say, cook biryani for the table number one. So after cooking something, let's say biryani, so chef won't go directly to customer and give him his order or serve him his order. Instead, he will ask waiter to get the biryani, and then the waiter will go to customer and serve the biryani directly. So you'd see. So waiter is kind of a middleware. So the front end and back end won't be directly communicating with each other. There are multiple reasons, but for now, let's simply, I'm not going into more and more detail. So we will going to cover all the detailed concepts later on. So let's say waiter is, or the API is a middleware, which helps front end to communicate with backend. Simple as that. So let's just move on to the actual implementation. So let's go to the, okay. So now let's start building with the, all right. So now here you can see the Tokio is saying that use the full features. So we have to add this thing here. So don't remove this thing. Instead, add the curly braces version and then features is equals to full. We want all the features from that. Let's save it. Save. Perfect. Save it. Saved. All right, perfect. So let's just go back to the documentation and let's think about the start and how can we start our project. So we have, so backend will be reflected on some port number. So let's say, so we won't be having, let's say, domain when while developing or while development. So we have to get some kind of dummy domain or the local domain that we can only use it for development purposes. So yeah, we have it. So how we can get it? So let's just go back to the documentation and let's say the URL will be local host, let's say 9,000. Or let's just go back to the Excalibur. Let me explain it to you. Might be you may know it or you may not know these concepts, but I'm in general explaining you all these concepts. So if you don't know about these, so this is better for you to get started with this. So let's say localhost 8,000 or whatever. So this local host means, or the local host, underlying the local host would be the URL or the port. You can say the URL will be 127.0.0.1. It is your local host. It will remain or accessible only from your network. Only on from your network. It won't be accessible from any other. Let's say if you are developing any of the backend and you have ran the command cargo run. So I won't be able to access your, let's say, domain. So you have to deploy it. We will go to these advanced topics later on. Localhost, and then after colon, this number will be considered as port number. So you can add many port numbers as you want, whatever you want. So let's say you can add 3000, 80, whatever port number you want to add it, you can. All right. So let me add it. Port number or port. All right. So I think this is clear for you. Let's go to the, all right, let's just remove it, save it, and let's create a boilerplate code of, or instead let's just start with the, because whenever we are building an application, first we used to create a boilerplate code where we will listen our code. Let's just go to the Axum because we are building the backend with Axum. So let's just go to the Axum here. So right here. Here you can see they are using Tokio main and they are saying that use this one to create routes. Routes means, let's say, अगर मुझे कोई application बनानी है, so if I want to build an application, so I will have different multiple routes. Let's say I have a collection of users. So might be I want to call users or get the users or display the users on front end. So might be I will, let's say, do localhost, sorry, local host, and let's say my port number is 8,000, and let's say I'm adding slash, and after slash, you know that I cannot get all the different uh, feature, let's say collections from backend from slash. So I have to name every different features, or let's say every different task, you can say, or collection. So let's say if there is a collection of users, I want to display it on frontend. So let's name it slash users. If I have, let's say, to dos, so it will be slash to dos. So it depends on yours. You can add td to dos. Naming is depends on you. So let's say if I want to call, let's say, to dos, so it will be slash to dos. If there is users, then users. So where were we? So yeah, here we are. So this is the basic concept. Let's just copy this whole code and paste it here. Save it. Let's just remove all, build our application with a single route. We can build our application, run our app with hyper listening globally on port number 3000. So it's saying listen port number on 3000. I'm updating the port number, and I'm saying that listen it on port number 8000. And let me just run the command cargo run. Please start really quick, run the command really quick. So I hope you have covered all the previous videos, all the cut lectures or chapters. So you have a better idea what we are doing right now. All right, address already in use. So let me just update that. Might be I have something running. So let me just quickly close everything in my PC, which is listing on port number 8000. Let me just update that. Might be. All right, so I hope this issue get fixed. Dun-dun-dun. All right, perfect. So it is working fine. Let me just go to the website and let's just run this. Localhost 8000. What happens next? Let's see. All right, I am seeing hello world. Oh, great achievement. Hello world. So let's get back to how hello world is listening. So we are seeing get. This is a get method. All right. So let's just understand what this get is. So in API, we have different concepts, oh, sorry, different methods like get, put, patch, post, delete, different other methods. So let's just go back to the SQLite draw. Let me, yeah, right here. So let's say for creating any record or for create, we have a method called post. So to update anything, we have put or patch. There is a difference between both of them, but let's consider both of them similar. For get, we have simple get method or get method, and for delete, we have simple delete method. And there are a lot of, let's say, options and so on and so forth, but there is no need of understanding or going through them right now. So see, where is read or right, read, create. Let me, all right. Create, read, update, and delete. Correct. Perfect. So these are the methods that we will be using. Post, get, put, and delete, or whether patch. Let's just go back to the. All right. So right here, what it is saying, Tokio, from Tokio, go to the net. What is net? If you want to explore that, let's just click on that. Go to the here, go back. Here you can see there are a lot of stuff. The CFG net, this is for testing. Let's go to the test net. Where is all right? TCP listener, it is using it. TCP listener, and from listener we have TCP listener struct, and inside that TCP listener struct, it is IO and poll evented. It means we have already covered a concept of poll in our previous video when we were learning about the asynchronous programming. Poll event. So in this, we have IO and registration, and it will poll whenever there is some change, or you can say that. All right, let me close it. Oh, all right, wait, one more thing. If I want to change port number, or if I want, let's say, hello world to become, let's say, Um, okay. Welcome to the backend CRUD app. Whether this will be reflected on our port number or not. Let me reload that browser. No, we are no, it's still saying hello world. So what should be the way to look or watch the changes whenever we make in our code base? So there is a crate that I told you that we will cover it later on. So there is a crate cargo watch which watches over your cargo project source. So if there is any changes, it will rerun the command cargo. So and runs cargo commands when they occur. So it's similar to the package nodemon if you are coming from the JavaScript background. So it will what nodemon does, it will look into the changes made into your program. So whether if there is any change, it will rerun your server. So it's kind of that. So let's just run the command. I have already installed that, so I won't be doing it right now. So let me go to the code base. So you can do this like cargo install, and then cargo watch. So like that, and it will install the binary into your program. Or so let me clear it and let's just run the command cargo watch. There are a lot of minus q minus c. Let me explain it to you. Go to the if there is thing, no, there are no. Yeah, right here, run cargo watch minus X. No, yeah, right here. Minus C means clear the screen before each run. Minus H for help. Minus Q means quietly suppress output from cargo watch itself. Don't use dot ignore file. Don't restart command while it's running. And then we have minus V version, minus N. So there is no need of using that. So let me explain. And minus X for execute. Sorry. So let's quickly go to the code. Minus, let's say Q quietly, minus C clear every time whenever you rerun the command or the program, and then minus X to execute and execute the run. This command will be executed. So let me just quickly see if the program is running. Let me go to the here. You can see reload the browser, the window, and yeah, the changes is reflected. Let me let's say hey, change is here. Ignore the grammatical mistakes. Let's wait. It's rerunning. Wait. All right, reload the browser and oh, oh, perfect. Let's just rerun again. Rerun. And yes, the changes are here. We didn't run the command cargo run. So let me just quickly start off with a handler or an API to or first of all, let's create our database or because I have told you that SQLite is useful to uh, store the data into your local directory. So let's say let's create a directory named as data. Let's say std standard library fs file system, and there are two functions: create directory and create directory all. So let me just do one thing. Let's just run the command create directory, and it will automatically create the directory. You can std. All right, the directory has been created. What if I rerun the command, the program? I have saved it again, and the program is rerunning. And here it's working perfectly fine. But unused result, that must be this result may be an error and so on and so forth, so it will return an error. So we can also use the create directory all. So what it does, it creates the directories recursively. What if I hover over this? where is recursively create a directory and all of its parent components if they are missing. If they aren't, so it will not create. So if they aren't missing, it will create it. If they are, sorry, if they are missing, it will create it. If they aren't, then it will ignore that. If this function returns an error, some of the parent components might have been created already. If the empty path is passed to this function, it always succeeds without creating any directories. So there is no need. Let's just do create directory, and let's just go to the SQLite documentation. I won't be writing the code by myself, so I'll try to refer to the documentation. So I will help you or guide you how you can refer to the documentation while building any of the web application or anything. So let me just go to the documentation of SQLite and let's understand how we can create a database. So SQLite open memory. So open a connection, create a table and insert a few rows. And what does this memory means? Let me just quickly save it. Now, what this memory will do, it will create the database, but it won't be displayed inside your data directory. So I want that data should be stored inside this data directory. So how can I do that? I can do that with this command, with this path. If I pass this path, let's say data, and let's say slash todo.db. Or if I want, I can directly remove the data and I can ask to create a DB file right in root. But I don't want it. I want the database to be stored inside the data directory. So here you can see the connection has been created. Now, if you think of the example, or if you remember the example of the ATM machine, if you have covered the previous lectures, so in that video, I have told you that the ATM machine do not allows user to let's say withdraw money from ATM as well as at the same moment transfer the money from to someone. So there is some implementation of locks. So to implement different locks, so let's just create a type. Let me just go and let's just first create all the directories routes. To create all the routes, let me just, okay, not in, all right, let's just add the mock.rs file, and then let's just go to the, let's just add the directory types and add mod. All right, perfect. So I'm not, I won't be complicating, I will not complicate this code or this database or this backend application. Instead, I'll try to simplify it. So there are different kind of uh, backend architectures like MVC. You can say a protocol, let's say. So MVC means model view controller. Model means backend schema, or it's kind of, you can say, what are the tape, what should be the column name, or how many columns will be inside my table, how many, what should be the type of that specific column. So the uh, model is kind of a thing where we define all the structure of our table. And routes, or view means the where we are viewing, reflecting our APIs. And controller means the main functionality or functionality of our APIs. And routes, this routes directory is all about simplifying the application. So there will not be any major routes. There will be only 4 routes in this video. So there is no need of creating different routes. So instead, I will create the functionalities into this route, or I can rename it, let's say controller or controllers, whatever, controller. Oh, controller. All right, controller. So in this controller directory, I will have uh, functionalities of our API, and there should be a route or directory for routes. So where we will define the routes for users. There will be a separate file to store or the definition of the routes for to-dos and whatever the functionalities are. So this is pretty much it about the architecture. And there was another concept that I thought to explain you about relational versus non-relational databases. In simple words, relational databases or relational databases, which means there will be rows and columns. The database or your data will be stored in a structured manner where you will see the columns, rows, and in non-relational databases, you won't be able to see your data in column or in a structured manner. You will be seeing your data in objects in the form of, let's say, JSON format. So let's say you will see key and its value, key value. Key means your column and value means your record, the value of a specific column. So, and this you can change the type on runtime as well. So I'm not going deep into that. So just for the basic understanding, consider relational databases as rows and columns and non-relational as uh, in JSON format. Let's consider or object format in easy words. So let's just move on to the other concept of SQL. What does SQL mean? SQL means structured query language. So when move on to that topic or part, I'll explain in detail what this SQL means, how we can learn SQL, because SQL structured query language means there is a language. Should we learn it beside the Rust programming language, or no, there is no need. So I'll let you know about that in a while. So let's just create types. So let's just create a type for, let's say, type db and is equals to, let's say, arc atomic reference pointer. One more thing, you won't be able to see these IntelliSense here. So instead, we have to define mod controller and let's say mod types, save it, and let's just come here. We have IntelliSense. Arc means atomic reference counting pointer. Mutex, I want the connection to be locked stripe, or let's say mutex, and let's call the connection. Oh, what happened? Perfect. And this connection will be imported from SQLite to define the type. So by default, the type is connection, but we want the type should be mute implemented like mutex. So we have to lock the connection when we are, let's say, creating a so let's say when we will create, let's say, a to do, we want there should be a lock implemented on that part, so that if I want to let's say delete that specific record, this functionality won't be happen. User can't delete that at that right moment when we are creating any specific or updating any specific record. So let's just create, oh, sorry, assign the type to that connection, connection and import the DB. So now we have it right here. Let's just go to the controllers. Um, ins Instead of creating all the functionalities into that specific mod.rs file, let's just, and instead of, usually we create a single file for all the functionalities, let's say to do todo.rs, but I'm not doing that right now. I'm trying to simplify it for you to, let's say, I'll create a separate file for each functionality. So for now, let's create todo.rs, and let's just copy this so that we can, all right, let's create, sorry, pub function, create to do, let's just save it, define it, mod, save it, what is the name, create, all right, to create. So let's just All right, the slash would be the same simple. Hey, welcome to the backend CRUD app. Hey, changes here. Let me just remove it. All right. One more thing, how we can define multiple routes. So there is a way. So dot route, or let me just go back to the or revert back to the documentation. What if I want to define multiple routes? So SQLite functions, type analysis, structs, or connection error raw statement example. So we only have a oh, I'm on SQLite Axum. All right, perfect. So I want to define multiple routes. So how I can do that? I can define it like dot route. So let's click on that route. If I click on that path, let's say slash to do, and method would be is let's say method will be mhm, post. Let's just import that and pass the create handler. What happened here? Expected. Oh, my bad. All right, I have directly assigned this type to connection. Not, no. I want to assign this type later on. I'll explain you where I will assign this type to. All right, perfect. So cannot find value create to do in this scope. Uh, let's just import that. I haven't imported it. Oh, save it. Remove that. Perfect. Now here, the trade bound function create handler is not satisfied. Consider using Axum debug handler. So let's just revert back to the documentation of Axum, how we can define a route. So it's throwing an error. भाई क्या आप नहीं create कर सकते function without a debug handler. However, let me just go to the yes, right here you can see we can add async and let's yeah, right here I'll explain you. There is another thing. Okay, so now I can directly pass this async function, and then with state, there is a function with state. What does this mean? To share the state between different handlers or routes. So let's say I have a route. Where is this? Skeleton. Yes. So let's say I have a route for slash to do, which will be of post. Let's say it will be post, and I have a route, let's say slash to do slash, let's say something ID. The ID will refer to the to do ID, and this is, let's say, put. All right. So what I want to do, I want to share the state. Let's say connection. I want to share the connection, the database connection between both of them. Instead of creating a new instance of connection and assign to each of different handlers. Instead, I want a shared handler so that I can implement the locking functionality or mutexes. So this is what the purpose of this, where it is shared ref, yeah, with state, shared state. So let's say let's go back to the project. Let me just with with state and pass the connection. One more thing, there is another thing. I want the connection to be implemented in a way that I can implement the locking so mechanism. So let's let db and pass the type db and is equals to implement the arc, include arc, new mutex, oh, whatever, mutex, imported now, and let's a new and pass the connection type to it, and let's just go to the db. What happened? All right, perfect. So now let's just go to this function. Why this there is an error? Because it's saying that the post method or the post handler should get some data from user. It should accept the state. So let's go back to the, let's just close this right now, create to do. All right, let's say how we can implement the state. Where is this? Here you can see we can use state, and let's just create. Where is this? Instead of creating that, let's just do pass the type db. I have already created the type db, so instead of every time passing arc mutex and a connection, instead I have already created this type. So if you don't want to create a separate type, you have to write this here every time. So instead I have already created the type. I will use, let's say, instead of saying it connection or state, let's say it as db connect, or let's say db. It's fine better. All right, the state will be imported from Axum because we are working with this. And okay, so now from users, what we have to accept from users when, let's say, अगर किसी को to do create करना है, so what should be the input from users? So the only thing we need from user is task. Enter the task, we will automatically create the to do for you. So let's just create a type for that. Pub struct, and let's assign the type macro drive debug. Debug, debug. All right, perfect struct. Let's say to do, and there will be only thing like task. Save it, and we are done. Perfect. And let's say the user will pass the input in JSON format. So we have to implement the JSON as we already discussed. No, we are not using the JSON from Exam. We will use JSON from CRUD, or let's just okay, the to do, and the to do the type will be JSON, and pass, let's say, to do type, to do. Perfect. And let's just say as JSON in format. Perfect. So for now, I'm not returning anything. I'll just get the data or input from users. What happened now? Why there is an error? All right, minus verbose. Let's just go back to the documentation. Why there is an error? Go. See what there is an error there. Why there is an error? We will explore this hand to hand whenever we are implementing any functionality. So they are saying that get the uh, payload or input from users. So let's JSON and CRD JSON value. What does this mean? So they are saying that implement the value CRD JSON. They are trying to or conveying the message that implement the CRD JSON type to your, let's say, uh, type or to do. So let me just go back to the uh, code where it is. We have create to do mod.rs, and inside we are inside main.rs. Let's just types, and we have to implement the functional the type CRD. So how we can do that? Let's just go to the documentation. All right, we are here. So and why there is an error? Okay, so we are not returning anything. That's why. So they are returning the JSON. So we haven't implemented any functionality. So let's just go back to the code and start implementing. We can, one more thing. Let's just implement the serialize and deserialize here. So serialize. Okay, we will have to import this. So we have imported that here. Mod type. Okay, perfect. Let's just use 30, and that's DC. Yeah, here we are. DC, serialize, and as well as serialize. Serialize. Agree. Save it. That's fine. What happened? Okay, we cannot use. So we have to add. Let me just go to the documentation of SERDI, and here if I can directly find it. Okay, so here if they haven't mentioned it. to access these functionalities, we have to implement the feature flags. Let's just go to the feature flags, and here, okay, fine. So we have to implement this feature drive. So let's just go to the CRD version is equals to, and features is equals to, um for now drive, so that we can access this feature, and this TRL will be removed. Okay, it's taking time because of formatter. It's formatting it. I won't, if I can. All right, let's just skip it for now. Let's just save it. Okay, now the error is should be gone. Why it isn't? All right, perfect. The error is gone. It's fine, perfect. All right, let's just here instead of to do, let's say it as payload. It's easy, pretty much easy. Now let's say I have to access the data. So let's say DB or the connection, let's say connection is equals to DB dot. In that DB, what we have it here. So we can lock, and what we have, let's say dot unwrap what whenever, let's say if we have an error, so we can do that. All right, perfect. So let's create or let's write a script to create data. First of all, we have to write the script to create table. So let's say let statement, you can say, or let's say query is equals to, and for query, oh, okay, my bad. Or no, it will be of type string, and let's say create. This is the structured SQL, structured query language. So create means create, and then table name. We have to add the table name. Let's say create to do. And one more thing, it will create. Let's say, what if the table is already, or what if table already exists in our todo.db? So what we have to do instead, create to do if not exists. Yeah, I am. So we can write it in one line, but I am trying to try to make it prettier so that you can understand it better. Create to do means your table name. If it does not exist, then there will be values. Let's just go to the SQL, SQL. Let's say SQL create or SQL queries. Let's just go. So let me help you out. So where should you refer to? So you can go to the W3 school, and here you can see if you have a course, or Geeks for, or you can also refer to the Geeks for Geeks. This is a great websites to these are the great websites to learn from. So here you can see there are a lot of concepts. So they are saying the drop. So here, if I, yeah, right here, create database name, and then okay, this is something else. Right here, create table and table name, and inside table, after table name, you can pass the column and then the data type. Column, then the data type. Column, and then the data type. So let's say uh, and one more thing, yeah, right here, create table if not exist, and employ, oh my bad. So let's just quickly copy this, and let's just update that. Let's me go back to the code, and instead create to do, no, create table if not exist, and then the table name. So I have, let's let's call it to do's. It's fine. Let's revert back, and yeah, create to do, and the, let's say ID, there will be ID will be of type I32 or integer, and the integer. So the ID of each to do will be different from each other. So instead of creating a UUID for each and every record, we can, let's say, assign a single ID, integer ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should be auto. increment it. So let me revert back to the documentation and how we can increment it. Let me search increment. Yeah, right here, increasing order. By default, it will be in increasing order. Select from, no, 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 no. Are we, do we have increment here? No, we don't have increment here. So let's just quickly, let's say ID will be of type integer, and there are other concepts, primary key, foreign key. So for now, consider primary key as your identifier to a specific record. So how you can find your the specific record or to do, you can find it through your ID. So let's consider your primary key as your uh, representative of a record. So if you go in, look into your family, so who is your representative or guardian, who looks after your family? So it's considered as similar to that. It's just basic example. So there are a lot of different complex concepts behind primary key, so I'm not going in detail of that. Primary key, and ask it to auto increment, and let's say we have another column, or we have another record. So if not, we have another record. Let's say instead of creating first name as varchar 55, we have, let's say, we can get ask user to create. Varchar is an example of, consider this as text field. So text will be, you can add the limit, let's say 150, 50, 55, whatever. The video is perfectly fine. Yes, perfect. So we can, let's say, or we have different other options like text. Text is also considered as, let's say, your um auto increment. Okay. All right, and let's say we have task. Task would be of type text, and I want it to be not null, or text not null, or we can also implement unique to any of these stuff. Let's say ID should be unique, and status. Status should be from, let's say if I have to, let's just create a enum of type of structure. Pub enum, and let's say status. Status will be of whether of type pending, or let's say pending or done. Let's done. Let's just go back to the documentation and see if there is any support of selecting any of them. So how we can do that? Oh, let's say we have um let's just search for, let's say, amongst both of them. So status in let's I don't get it. Let's just quickly go to the code. Let's just write it by myself. Text not null, and I want to create amongst both. So let's say create status in or check lot whatever. Check if status in, let's say, pending or pending and done, and if not amongst them, we should add a default value. So it should be default, let's say, pending pending done, pending. Let's just save it, and that's what we don't want to return it. It's fine. So now let's say the query dot, and how we can store the data into your table. So we have different commands for them. Let me just go to the documentation where it is. So I'm trying to simplify it so that you get to know about these concepts. So let's say search for your command insert. So here you can see insert into and then the table name, and inside this after parenthesis you can add your column name, and after that values, and the same, and the value of that specific column you have to store it in. So let's say there can be multiple options for you. So, and how to store, is there any method inside that? Let me just go statement dot next. Yeah, right here. Statement is equals to connection dot prepare, and you can pass your query dot unwrap. So let's just copy that. Sim Come here. Perfect. Let's just save it. And as you know, we have to store statement dot, and in after that we have different things like bind and one more thing. So now we have to, so it's selecting and to store and the data if it is, yeah, create table, insert, and then it's saying that to execute this. First, let's just execute this command so that after this is executed, we have to write another query for, let's say, let insert query is equals to insert into, and let's say table name would be to-dos or to-dos, and inside that we have columns, task, and values, and will be of. So I don't want the status, I don't want to pass the status while creating a to-do. So it will automatically be, so I have already passed the default value, default pending. So what does this mean? It will automatically be checked. So let's just go to the statement and statement dot bind, and inside that bind I have to add this. Here you can see number one and then Bob. Number one means there can be multiple values. So how this what does number one means? It will refer to this value. So one means the place, first place, second place. So this, so like that. So let me just remove that one, and inside one we have to payload dot, why we don't have the, where is deserialize, perfect, it's fine. To do dot task dot, let's say to as a stir or to string, save it. What happened? To do is private. Okay, save it. All right, perfect. What it's saying, the trade bindable. So statement bind, to implement the bind is implemented for ampersand struct. What happened? Let me just quickly revert back to the documentation. All right, so here we have okay, so we don't have it. All right, right here, and we are, no, we are not. So let's just go back to the code so we can directly do that. So we have a function, what it's saying to, yeah, right here, ampersand string. So we can consider it as a string. So the data will be coming as a string. And one more thing, there might be an error. So to panic, so you can, instead of prefer to use operator or matching pattern, handler case explicitly or call unwrap or odds. Panics if the value is an error. So it will panic. For now, let's just panic. All right, perfect. So now let's say what I have to throw or send in response. So I have to, there should be, there are multiple status codes. So for create, so let's just import the status code from system, status code created. So if there is a successful status, then it's fine. And let's just import the serde JSON, and the output will be in JSON format, and serde JSON, and let's just pass, let's say, message, and let's say to do created successfully. What happened? Is there any error? Serde JSON expected found create serde JSON. JSON is unambiguous open standard format, uses human text, unreadable. So we have to JSON is a okay, found create serde JSON. It's serde JSON create. Let's just go inside that and let's just see what how many different. All right, perfect. So we have, let's say, serde JSON. Okay, perfect. JSON. So we have this JSON mac. This is implementation of JSON macro rule. So it's accepting all the JSON internals. So you and let's just what happened. Um, expect. Okay, so I haven't passed the return type. So let's just implement the okay, I haven't created a type for return type. So let's just create a return type. Pub, let's say struct to do response. It will be of, let's say, type. There will be ID of, let's consider it as U64, and then ID and task string, and status will be of type status. Let's just copy this thing here, save it, and let's just get this here, implement to do response, and let's just import it right here. Okay, what happened? I have made it public. Let's just import it, save it. Okay, let's just directly get it from there, pass it. What happened? So we have an error here. Let's see what happened. Okay, expected traits found stuck. Oh, I have passed it. So we have to implement this to-do response. So how we can implement this to-do response? So let me explain it to you how we can create this to-do response or into response. What this we have to convert the trait. Let me explain it to you through documentation or XKL. Let's just go back. All right, let's see exam, and what should be the return type? Um, let me explain it to you. Yeah, right here. Into response. So the return type would be into response. What does into response do? Right here? It will help you return this status code and the value you want to respond or return. So let's just go back to the code, and let's just and if I don't want to return that, I can directly return uh, the to do response, the struct, but I don't want to return it right now. What happened? Save it. Let's just go mod. What happened here? Study serialize is not defined. Inside main.rs we have save it, and inside that we have to see what happens here. The trade bound function state arc mute create to do handler is not satisfied. So we have to db.log.unwrap. We have it here. Insert query. We haven't inserted that here. And dot unwrap statement found statement connection dot insert query statement dot bound. We have binded, and let's see what we are missing. All right, let's see inside that. SQLite. If we are missing, after binding, okay, we have statement.next. So we haven't implemented that. So let's just quickly statement.next, or instead of getting anything, let me just quickly go to the code statement.next and implement the unwrap methods for now. Save it. Okay, we haven't added pub async, make it asynchronous function. Save it and let's test this if it is working. Perfect. The error isn't removed yet. Why it hasn't been removed yet? Save it. See, let's see. Okay, perfect. It's fine. Let's just test this endpoint. So on the browser, we won't be able to test this endpoint because the consider the browser as your get endpoint. So we have to, you can select the post from drop down and let's add your, let's say to do and let's just reading book. I have already tested that out, so perfect, it's fine. And what happened? Let's just quickly go to the backend. Let's see. Panic near exists syntax error. What happened? So let's see the DB. All right, so you won't be able to see your database like this. So instead, you have to install an extension of, let's say, SQLite. So if you will install any of the extension after searching for SQLite, let's say SQLite viewer tool, whatever. So after installing that, you will be able to see there. So let's see what happened. Uh, Create table if not exist to do's, and then we have pass everything. So create table. So there is an issue with this one. So thread Tokio runtime panicked at source. It has mentioned this tie. Okay, so after, when while executing this query, we are getting some error message, some near exists syntax error. So there is an error. So how we can, let's just search for, or let's review that, review the documentation. Let's just see inside the query. So there is an error with the exist. Okay, I have missed the since. Correct. So while recording this video, so it happens with me usually. So let's just quickly. And one more thing, let's just make it mutable so that if there is an, if I want to unlock that, I can. Oh, after that, it can be removed. That Mutex card connection. Let's just quickly go to this postman. We have it here. Send the. All right. No workers. Some error exists. So we have an error with the query. Let's just review that. Let's just go to the create table. If not exists, customer. Everything is fine. Let's see. I don't think so. If there is any error now, save it. Let's see. Okay, it's still in building. Okay, it might fail again because of not running. The survey is still in progress. Rerun this program. Okay, so there is an error again, syntax error. So let's see. Right, so there is nothing. No. Let's just review the code. There should not be any error. Okay, so there is an error. Let's save it, rerun the command. Ta-da-ta. So yes, let's just quickly rerun this. To do created successfully. I have already tested that because oh, let's just wait for a few seconds. It's been already 109, so it's taking some time. Let's perfect to do created, and then let's just quickly see what it has stored with this. Let's see. Inside these to dos, we have reading book and status is pending. So here you can see status pending, reading book, and this is perfectly fine. So the status should not be the text. It should be some, let's say, varchar 50. So it will work with that. But because I'm currently trying to explain every concept to you, so it's perfectly fine for the testing purposes right now or for the explanation. So let's just quickly move on to the next route. Create, read, uh, what I'm doing, dodo.rs or get to do, or let's just quickly that let's just copy everything from that so that we can quickly get. We don't need the JSON from user. However, we will it's not highlighted because of this pub mod get to do dot. Let's take a save, and then here we are. Let's just save it for now. There is nothing. Yes, perfect. Let's just add another route. Slash to do will be of get, and save it. Let's just come here. We don't want the execution of that get, or let's say select, let's say, any specific record. So select from to do's, and let's say, let's just go back to the SQL query. So let me show you where. So yeah, yeah. Here you can see select column one, column two from table one. So you can pass this. So select task status from to do's, and we want where the ID is equals to, or you can say where the condition would be ID is equals to. So ID is equal to the question mark. So we can add the question mark, and to bind that payload payload or for, so get to do will be get to do's, name it as get to do's. So read means, okay, refactoring, let's save it for now. Let's just get all the to do's for now. Let me just select to do's from, select everything. Instead of passing specific columns, let's just ask, uh, mm, let's just say inside this query, get all the everything from the table to do's. Let's just remove that. We don't want to bind that. Save it, or query, or get query, or query. Let's just say it as query and save it. Message to do. Let's just send the data in response. So in return, we have to s- send the data as an array. So let's say we have to, let's say, JSON, and inside that JSON we can let's say pass the data as an. So for now, let's just, instead of getting this like this, let's just get the data from these. How we can get the data from this statement? Let's just go back to the documentation where it is SQLite. How we can get the data? So here, select everything from users connection.query.unwrap. So statement.bind, and then here you can see you have the data. So let's just quickly copy this command. Okay, let's, instead of doing this, select row while okay, name is equals to, we don't want to do that. So instead we can let to do's is equals to vec to do, and then let's say initially the there will be let's make it mutable, and then let's just to do's dot push, and inside that what we will do, we will push everything. Let's say ID will be of type ID. Okay, Wait. There is some difference in types. This is to do for create to do. Let's just pub. Yeah, right here to do response. So instead, let's just do this thing. Rename this. Okay, stat task will be of same type and status will be of same type. ID task status. Remove everything out. What happened? Okay, to do response field is private. Let's just go and make it public. Save it. Let's just quickly do this stuff. Save it, and let's just return this data and to rules. Let's see whether there is an error. No. What happened? Save it. Public async at to do's. Save it. Save it. I have updated that. Perfect. Save it. Let's just quickly test this out. Perfect. There is an error. Found module get to do's. It's get to do's. It is also get to do's. So, okay, found U64. So instead of U64, and there is a type of status. Oh no, this will be of type status of to do status. It's mixing up. So let's just type status. Where is this to do? To do. Save it. What happened? State raw. Okay, the trade bound U64 readable with index is not. So let's just, we have to, all right, one more thing. Let's just, for now, update is, where is types. Let's just consider is as a string for now. And let's just add an implementation of impl state status. And inside that status, we have to consider the status as a string. So we have to implement the functions as stir and from stir. So how we can do that? Let's say, all right, let's say um pub function, let's say as stir, and let's get the self and return, let's say static and stir. And let's say we have to return the type. Let's say match self, let's say self dot pending, then return the uh pending and if there is a self dot what should be the other one, the done, and if there is that is done, return the done. Let's just save it. What happened there? Unexpected fat arrow. So I cannot directly pass the fat arrow match self, so instead, we can directly do that. Status, and let's say pub function, if we have from stir function and we can get, let's say, a string from user. So let's say status as a, let's say, stir option. If user passes the string, we can convert it into status. So let's say option status or option self. Yes, this is perfectly fine. We can also do that. So let's say match. What happened there? Expected a pattern, found an expression. Um, what happened here? Expected a found an mature. No, let me, I'll do back to that. The status, and we have to convert the, let's say if there is a status of type um match status, if there is a pending, then return the, let's say, status pending, status pending done, if there is a done status, and if there is nothing, then return, let's say, by default the fallback would be, let's say, pending. Save it, and there is an error, so we can remove that error. How we can remove that error? So let's say expected a pattern, found an expression, so we have to follow this stuff. What's saying, let's just go to the documentation of chapter patterns, chapter 19. What is saying, let's just quickly come here. Here we are. Recall the match expressions in chapter 6. So okay, my bad. Status like that. No, it's fine. Yes, perfectly. It should be fine now. I have mistaken that. Perfect. So let's just quickly make it, let's say, I64, save it, and let's just go back to the to-dos. Let's consider it as, let's get the status here. All right, let's just record this error here. Same mistake, and I have another thing here. Let's say and one more thing. I am trying to return the sum. Or let's just return the self instead of sum. It's perfectly fine too. Save it, save it, save it. Perfect. Let's just go back to the documentation. Oh, the here we have string, and status should be converted. Let's say status or to do, instead of directly pushed, instead of directly making it push to, let's say const id would be of type id, and let's say it as a64. Const task would be status statement, cons and status would be of string, and let's convert the status, let's say const status, let's say, or to do status as, let's say, status, and status dot from. Okay, we have status, and inside from that specific status we can, let's say, from stir, and we can pass the status as a reference or string slice, and then unwrap. We can also pass, let's say, unwrap or the default value if there is any value. So we will get the value by default, so there is no any error will. So let's say id will be of type id task, and this will be of to do. Let's save it and see if there is an error. So it's taking longer than usual. Whatever. Non-constant value in a constant. Okay, let my bad. What I am doing right now, I usually go back to my brain goes back to the JavaScript world. So I used to do. So where to import it from? Let's just go back to the documentation where it is and SQLite state. Save it. Perfect. Is it fine? Is it fine? SQLite. The name state is defined multiple times. Where it is. Okay. Save it. What happened now? Is it fine? Is it fine? Okay, so there is an error. So let's just quickly convert this and let's just use it from Excel. Save it. Now it should work fine. So there was the duplication error. Now here we are. To-dos isn't initialized. To-dos use here, but it isn't initialized. All right. Yes, it isn't initialized. So let's just consider giving to-dos an explicit type, and then we have to initialize that. Let's say vac macro. There should be. Is there any error here? Status. Cannot non-exhaustive patterns. The matched value is of type ampersand string cannot be matched exhaustively. So a wildcard is necessary. So I have, oh my bad. Let's say it's fine. Perfect. Let's just go back to the main.rs why there is an error. Expected value found module get to do's. So it should be get to do's colon get to do's. And let's do one thing, save it. And it's fine. Let's perfect. Let's just call the get endpoint. Are we getting any response from that? Okay. Is there any error here? No. It's rerunning the command. We are already at the 127 mark. All right, perfect. So we are getting the data, ID, status, endpoint, reading work. Let's just, okay, I haven't updated the message though. Get to do's. Oh, right. To do's fetch. Success. Fully, my bad, my bad. And yes, perfect. So let's just, if we want to get a single to do, how we can do that? Let's just quickly do that to do. Let's just quickly do that. Where it is main.rs. Let's just create an endpoint for that. And where it is, yes, get to do instead of to do's, get rename it, save it, and let's just go back to the remove the types from here, import mod, uh, get to do, save it. Let's just quickly call an endpoint, route, create a route to do slash ID, and the route will be get to do's or get to do. Perfect. Save it. Okay, let's just remove that. Save it, save it. And how we can get the perfect. How we can get the slash dynamic you can say the parameter. So we have already covered that where were we so where it is get user and get path and user ID. So let's just copy that and paste it here. And instead of user ID, we can say to do ID or ID, whatever. And inside that, instead of to do's as vector, we can call it as, consider it as to do response. And instead of doing that, or let's say just save it, and instead of getting where, and we have to pass something here dynamically, so it should be here this way, like this. And then statement when dot bind, same as we did previously, one, and we have to pass the to do ID, save it dot under. Let's just quickly do that. And what we have an error, import it from Axum, save it. And yes, to do dot, instead of to do's dot push, let's just do to do's equals to do's response, save it. What we are string, let's just as to string, save it. Let's just quickly do this stuff. We have an error. The trade bound statement is not bind your use size and so on and so forth. All right, perfect. Let me just update that, and okay, the it should be okay. And let's just go back to the documentation. So let me go back to the implementation. Where were we? Get user, and we have to pass Arc clone is fine, and then inside that path. Okay, so they are saying that we have multiple choices. We can rather use like this way. So we don't want like this. No, 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 no. Let's just quickly search for it really quick. And then let's say what we have it here. So we can, let's say, if we want to get a to do, how we can do that? We can pass the ID. So ID would be considered as where it is mod.r as the type. Yes, right here. ID is considered as to do I64. So let's consider it as, all right, my bad. I have updated the oh, get to do's route instead of oh, oh, let's just quickly go back to the get to do. Oh, my bad. Let's just quickly update this to do, save it. Okay. And instead of this, let's just consider it as I64 because I will have the ID as an I64. Save it. Where ID is equals to, my bad. ID is equals to, and we have to do or to do the task to do. It will be of type to do. Save it. Let's just see what we have. Used binding to is possibly uninitialized. To do use here, but it is possibly uninitialized. Okay, so we can rather uh, instead we can also do like, instead of passing this way, we can also all right, we have to pass something here. So to do response, and instead uh, we have to pass something here to remove this error. So it should be possibly uninitialized. So we have to uh, say it like, uh, okay, let's just move this here instead of storing like this. Let's say we can rather do that. Remove this. And there is another thing I'll tell you what. Here you can see mismatch unit type, found tuple, status, value, and expected this to be tuple semicolon here. So why there is an error? Because what if there is no ID? What if there is no any रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम लेट्स से कि मैंने कोई भी ऐसी आईडी पास कर दी जो एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती डेटाबेस में वेदर आई हैव पास नंबर 3 एंड इट डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट इन द डेटाबेस सो व्हाट देयर विल बी एन एरर सो टू fix this issue let's just go back to the documentation to review that. Here we are. Let's just quickly come here and no, there is no anything like that. So let's say we have, okay, one more thing. There is a function into response. So it as state is accessed here into response. So what this will do, let me just go back here. All right. So let's just add the match statement or let's just if do it like if let try with that else and we can do that. Uh, Status not found if there is yes not found and instead of doing uh, to do no to do found with that to do id whatever so let's instead of doing that of type this or let's just remove the data from here. It's fine, save it. All right, perfect. There is issue with the parenthesis and add the into response that we have already covered. Up response. Save it and let's just add. Oh, what happened with the parenthesis? Save it. Quickly save it, save it, save it. Perfect. Is there any error? No, perfect. Let's just go to and we have number one. So let's just or let's just create more. Let's say uh, we it's not visible. All right, let's just zoom it. Right now it's visible. Perfect. Yes, it's visible. Perfect. Let's say record a video, create. All right. One more thing. Okay, one more stuff that we have encountered now. Is it? It isn't created new data. Reading book, reading book. Why? It's not updating. Okay, what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm getting, oh my bad. And I'm not on posts route. That's why. To do created successfully. So there is an error with the status code there. Create is 201, 201 created fine and it should be okay. And it should be okay, perfect. Created means 201, okay means 200, not found means 404. So we have, let's say, let's just go to the get and we are already on 138. Oh, it's still loading. All right, perfect. We have two tasks. So what if I want to fetch task number two? So how we can do that? I will pass the slash to the ID number and let's just fetch it. Okay, perfect. It's working fine. So we have already created get and read route. There are two implementations of read. I have already implemented that. So we have another two routes, update and delete. So to update it, it's the merger of two routes, get to do and the create to do. So let's just quickly copy and paste the create to do and make it update to do. get to do, and inside that get to do, let's just copy this path. Let's just remove everything from here, close everything. So clean it up. Let's just quickly edit. Oh, I know why this is happening because of this mod update to do. And let's just save it, and main inside main let's just create a route for, let's just say it as put, to not make it complicated. Let's just import it. Save it, and let's just quickly come here. Let's just not. What I want to do, we have to remove this query, and instead of insert, we have to update that. So first of all, we have to select. We have to find that, let's say whether this specific record exists, whether this specific to do exists. If yes, then update it. So let's just get this thing here, copy this, paste it here, inside update to do. And if we have it, so we don't want to return it directly. Instead, we want to update it. So how we can do that? We have to implement another functionality or another query. So let's say we can do this way. So we have to update everything, whatever we are getting from users. So we expect that user will pass is task and status both. So let's say um, let me add the type here. Instead of to do response, say it as to do update to do type, update to do type. You can say it like that, call it. There are a lot of ways to reuse specific struct. So let's say I want I want to uh, update query. Update query is equals to, let's say, let me just go back to the documentation here. Let me tell you update. So here, or where it is, top down, insert into employees, and we can reuse this specific, where is insert. So insert data into table and fetch data into table, and there are a lot of ways that we can update. So let me see if update route does not exist here. So let's just implement it by ourselves. So let's say update, let's say to do's and set, and then we will pass the values. Let's say stat task is equals to question mark. Let's say status is equals to question mark, and let's say, and one more thing. So we have to pass the updated values. So let the mute status, or let's just quickly do this thing. And one more thing. What if user does not pass task? So we have to do one thing. So let's say task, or let's just do one thing. Payload dot task, and let's save it. And what if there is no task provided by the user? Should convert it to unwrap, or and there will be, let's say, pass the task. If this task does not exist, what happened? Why? Create types. Okay, from star to do status. So what happened here? Let's just quickly No method named or okay, let's just quickly or as a string. Str. Let's just quickly see what happened. No method unwrapped. Oh, perfect. And let's just say status, and status would be of to do or no. It should be the status. Simply, it should be called as a status, and this is perfectly fine, I guess. So there is no error there. What happened here? Unwrap does not exist here. No method named unwrap for found for reference in the current scope. Method not found in. So let's just quickly do one more thing. Let's say let updated task is equals to payload dot task, and what if let's just quickly do one thing. We have it's already perfect, fine, perfect. All right, let's say we have it here, so it's perfectly fine though. Let me see what happens. What should we do? All right, perfect. Unwrap and wrap. Default or no. So let's see the type of that specific to do. All right, so what should be the oh, the type is to do. My bad. Da. Updated to do, and we have to make it option so that it should be a type spec option and type of string. So user will not pass as the type like that. Update to do type. Save it. Oh, let's just quickly go. We are almost on 2 hours mark. Let's just quickly wrap this up. Okay, my alarm. Save it. What happened here? Let's just quickly. Mhm. Alright. And let's say dot. And now we have unwrap or method here. And let's say it will be off. We can pass task here, and status would be it's fine. No need of unwrap as a stir here. It will be of type stir. And let's say okay, to do fetched or updated successfully, and pass this to do response, and we have an error here. Bound type of stir. Let's just quickly do one more thing. Dot as stir. Save it, and let's just see, is there any issue? Perfect, fine. Save it here. And it should be update task, and it should be of okay. We have to do one thing. Update it status. It should be like that. If there is any error, if user does not pass any status, so it should be by default the already existed status, and then we haven't implemented that. What happened here? We haven't imported, but save it really quick. Status corrected status. found string. It should be of type. All right, one more thing we have to status from stir. Let's just pass this string. It will convert it into status. It's fine. Here it's working fine. What happens here? Expected value module, and we have oh, save it, and it will work perfectly fine. Now all the errors are gone. Wait, to do update, to do what happened here? Wait, save it. Wait, real quick, save it. And yes, we are done. CRUD, CRUD is done. Okay, let's just first create, all right, we have let's just get all the to-dos, and let's say we have an error in the record number one, the to-do number one. So we have, let's say, issue, spelling issue in, yeah, right here. The U is mistakenly added, so we have to update that. So let me go in, and let's say task should not be reading with U, it should be with NG. And let's say the ID number is 1. Let's just send it, test it really quick. All right, so we have an error. Near is equals to some error. So update to do's set. Okay, so set, we have to set the values here. So we have to update that query. So the query would be update to do set without the, let's just update because it's already saying that we have added. Oh, it's gone. The clear command main. So perfect. Let's just quickly see whether we are. Okay, so the data is updated, the task is updated. What if I want to see? So let's just get the ID number one. Let's see. To do updated successfully, to do fetched successfully. One more thing, it hasn't been updated. I see reading with you. Why? There is an error. It hasn't been updated. It isn't updated. Updated task and updated status. So updated task should be, remove that, and payload.task, payload.status, it should update it. There is an error. Update to do set, let's say, inside the database. Reading with you, let's say, let's see whether there is an error with query, or let's print, add the print statement right here, print, and let's see, and let's say task or payload.task and updated task. Let's see what we have in both of these. Payload dot doesn't implement the query. copy trait isn't implemented on payload. Payload has the type. All right, let's just what we have update to do type. Let's just add the copy trait here. Save it. Let's see what we have. Option string. Okay, we are getting an option. So let's quickly go. Okay, I what? Save it and let's just add an option or let's say dot unpack or one. Let's say 123 dummy data. No, no, let's just quickly see what we have in updated task instead. Whether we will get the older that are the default one or the payload dot task. So let's see what we have in that. Put and let's see what we are getting in print. We are getting reading book, so there is an error with the statement. Okay, let's just go to the there is no any update statement update. Yeah, update how to update npm SQL update statement, and let's see what we have it here. Okay, SQL update statement, and we have update table name set column one. Okay, where I haven't added the where clause to okay, why I haven't updated where id is equals to, and then the third one would be the id. My bad. So it would be what's the id to do id. Save it really quick. Now we will remove this print statement and let's just test this statement. My bad, I'm making silly mistakes while recording this video, so bear with me. Let's just test it really quick and it should work now. Perfect, reading book. To do updated successfully. So now we have to add the delete route really quick. So delete would be simply let's just quickly click save delete to do. It's already we are already on 2 hour mark, so it's this video is too long now. Just delete to do and let's just really quick. We don't want anything from user. Let's just if it exists, then instead of doing this stuff, pub save it, save it, save it, save it, save it, save it, save it. And really quick save it here as well. And let's just quickly if there is an ID and instead of update task, I don't want to update task. Okay, and just remove everything from here. It will be simply deleted successfully and less is fine. It's just fine and delete to do's and where id is equals to statement dot bind and let's say one and the to do id. Save it really quick and it's fine. Perfect. Delete to do. Is there any error? No. Or yes, we have an error. I haven't edit. Save it. Really quick, go in main.rs file and let's just quickly delete handler and let's just quickly add here. Save it. Perfect. All right, everything is working fine. Let's just quickly test it and we are good to go. So let's just quickly delete the number two. I don't want the number two to exist in our database. Is it fine? Okay, we have an error in main.rs file. What we have it. Okay, we haven't imported the delete. Save it really quick. And yes, we are almost done and we are already on to our mark. So let's just quickly test this API endpoint. Ta-ta-ta. Perfect. Let's just test it. Okay, so we have an error here. So panic some to-dos syntax error. So delete to-dos where we have id is equals to. So let me just quickly go and let's just search for delete and let's just delete SQL delete statement. And if you will go to this specific route, you will be redirected to that specific. And there are a lot of statements for delete from. So you can add the from statement here and then we are good to go. We missed that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's send it. Send it, send it, send it. Now. And perfect. To do delete it successfully, let's just search it and let's just test this endpoint as well. Okay, one more thing we haven't delete inside todo.db. We can still see the data here, so it isn't deleted yet. Unused result. Okay, my bad. So here we are. We are here and let's just quickly see. We can delete single as well, multiple records and where some condition, and then you can add this statement here. So you can directly delete your specific item and then you can add this thing here. Let me just quickly statement dot next, same as we usually do in these routes. Let's say here I haven't executed that. Where it is? Yeah, right here. Statement dot next. You can add the unwrap method, though that I have missed it. Where is this delete route? So if there is an error, just please panic. And yes, it will take a bit of time. And let's just quickly do one. This is perfectly working fine. Let's just quickly send this. To do deleted successfully. Let's just get it and see whether it's working fine or not. And yes, it's working perfectly fine. So this is pretty much it from today's video. So if you have any queries, just let me know. I know it's too long for this small or this short or this small scale project. So I think we will be improving from now on. You will see the improved version of myself, or you will see improvements or betterments in my videos in later on. So you have watched up till now, so you are the legend. So you want, or you will be appreciated with this one. So if you have any queries, you can just let me know through my DM, or uh, on through the YouTube's comment box. And so if you have liked this video, if you have learned something from this video, just like it, subscribe it, follow me on LinkedIn. And one more thing, I have missed the LinkedIn post. We usually review the LinkedIn post of mine, that I post on different socials. So today I won't be doing it because we are already on 2 hour 5 minutes mark. So I'll try to make the videos shorter, but because these are the core concepts that, and I want to sum all these concepts in single video, so it usually takes a bit of time. But there are a lot of videos and resources out there. You can watch them if you find them useful. So the basic uh, goal is to learn Rust programming language, not to get any viewership or watch time. So I don't go to or chase these things, but just my goal is to learn the Rust programming and teach these things to you. So I got different comments about the blockchain and about different programming languages. So yes, I will be making videos. I will make videos on blockchain. It's in my to-do list, or you can say the task list, that I will uh, work on, and I'll record the videos about them as well. So so if you have any suggestions about anything, just let me know, and we will continue the development of different projects, and we will build different interesting projects in upcoming videos, as well as we will cover the remaining chapters of the Rust documentation. So bear with me, and if you have any suggestions, just let me know. Till then, bye and be productive.